Trust, the cornerstone of Singapore's growth story. In the early years, a well-regulated business environment attracted international investors and companies. But at the turn of the century, global investor confidence was shaken by a number of worldwide corporate and accounting scandals. Building and sustaining trust became more complex as we faced new challenges. We needed to further strengthen our oversight of corporate entities and key players. In 2004, the Registry of Companies and Businesses and the Public Accountants Board merged to form ACRA. Tasked with maintaining a transparent and trusted business environment, ACRA safeguards the markets with its regulations. It proved to be a timely merger as more international corporate scandals and the global financial crisis emerged. ACRA's mission in a complex and volatile world is critical. To stay competitive and relevant, the market must remain fair and transparent, with a spirit of fair play, a culture of open competition, and we must have the agility and endurance to meet the challenges. We need exacting standards and meticulous surveillance to ensure reliable financial information in the marketplace. We need to focus on the finer details while keeping the big picture in mind so that we stay responsive and progressive. In this complex marketplace, each and every piece of the puzzle is important, coming together to form strong partnerships that complete the big picture. We want our financial and corporate sectors to have a strong corporate compliance culture. We believe in a strong and rigorous enforcement regime. Our goal is to raise corporate compliance standards. A pilot training program launched in 2012 has paved the way for a regular program to train thousands of company directors in basic corporate compliance. We review audits by public accountants and monitor financial reports, ensuring that financial information released is trustworthy. Over the years, we've expanded ACRA's scope to constantly raise the quality of audits and financial reporting. Together with our stakeholders, we work towards a common goal: reliable financial information in the market. Our statisticians analyze the wealth of information filed with ACRA, spotting business trends and developing products for the market. We've taken corporate regulatory efficiency to new levels with the world's first fully online business registration and filing system, BizFile. Our systems are constantly upgraded and new technologies tapped to enhance efficiency. To give the business community more options, we introduced new business vehicles. We launched BizFings, a business financial data portal where companies file financials in international XBRL format that allows for comparative analysis. Staying responsive also means keeping regulations progressive. Through our legislative reviews, we've kept our regulations robust yet flexible. Every piece of the puzzle counts, just as ACRA's ties to every partner and stakeholder matter. We regularly engage the business community. We reach out to new and aspiring business owners through public talks. We collaborate with our partners in public education, training, and industry research. And we continuously strive to reach out to all our stakeholders. Our shared goal is a robust regulatory framework that supports business growth. Our ACRA officers are the core of our strength. We've been dedicated, resilient, and forward-looking. Together, we'll stay vigilant to address future challenges. Our business is about trust. We will make Singapore the best and trusted place for business.
How to choose between the different types of business entities? There are 4 types of business entities: business, company, limited liability partnership, and limited partnership. Let us start with the simplest form, which is a business. A business can be a sole proprietorship with 1 owner or a partnership consisting of 2 to 20 owners. Business owners are personally liable for the debts and losses of the business. This is known as unlimited liability. Next, let us look at company. A company usually has the words PTE Ltd or Ltd as part of its name. One of the advantages of owning a company is that the shareholders have limited liability. This means that they are not personally liable for the debts and losses of the company. For the 2 partnerships, let us see how they differ. For limited liability partnership or LLP, it is a partnership with a minimum of 2 partners and they have limited liability. In limited partnership or LP, there needs to be a general partner and a limited partner. Whilst the general partner is personally liable for the debts and losses of the LP, the limited partner enjoys limited liability. Now that we have gone through the different entities, ask yourself the following questions. Would you like to own the business by yourself or together with other people? How much capital are you prepared to invest? Are you able to finance your business solely, or do you need finance from other persons? Would you prefer limited or unlimited liability? If you're finally ready to decide on an entity, make sure to adhere to the following rules. You are at least 18 years old. All business entities must have at least 1 person who is residing in Singapore. For business, LLP and LP, there is a requirement that the owner or partner's Medisave must be paid up with the CPF board at all times. If in doubt as to which business vehicle to register, you may wish to start a business first and register a company once your business picks up. Whatever business vehicle you choose to register, please ensure that you comply with all the requirements for registration and that you continue to comply with the post-registration requirements after registration. Best of luck!
As part of Singapore's ongoing efforts to uphold our reputation as a trusted financial hub, a new law has been introduced on 31st March 2017 that will enhance the transparency of business entities in Singapore. This means that all local, as well as foreign companies and limited liability partnerships or LLPs registered in Singapore will be required by law to set up a register of controllers. Your register cannot be viewed by the public. However, the information in your register must be made available to public agencies such as ACRA, CAD and IRAS upon request. Those exempted from this Register of Controllers requirement include Singapore-listed companies and financial institutions. For the full list of exempted entities, please refer to www.acra.gov.sg. So who is a controller? A controller is an individual or legal entity that has a significant interest in a company or LLP, or has significant control over a company or LLP. What is significant interest? For companies with share capital, This means an individual or legal entity that has an A. Interest in more than 25% of the shares, or B. Interest in shares with more than 25% of total voting power in the company. For companies without share capital, this means an individual or legal entity that holds a right to share in more than 25% of the capital, or more than 25% of the profits of the company. Now, what about significant control? This means an individual or legal entity that holds or has the A. right to appoint or remove directors who hold a majority of the voting rights at directors' meetings. B. More than 25% of the rights to vote on matters that are to be decided upon by a vote of the shareholders of the company. Or C. Right to exercise or actually exercises significant influence or control over the company. So an individual or legal entity that meets any of the above criteria has significant interest in or significant control over the company and is therefore a controller. Here are some examples of significant interest in the context of a company. Raj and Wei Yang each have an interest in 50% of the shares in Company A, as they both have an interest in more than 25% of A's shares. This means that Raj and Wei Yang are both controllers, and their details should be recorded on your register. Raj has an interest in shares in Company X, and the total votes attached to those shares is 30% of the total voting power in X. As the total votes attached to Raj's shares in X is more than 25% of the total voting power in X, Raj is therefore a controller. Raj, Wei Yang and Ali each hold a right to share in 45%, 35% and 20% of Company J's profits respectively. In this situation, as Raj and Wei Yang each hold a right to share in more than 25% of J's profits, they are controllers, whereas Ali is not. Here are some examples of significant control in the context of a company. Company D has identified all of its controllers that meet all earlier conditions, either by having the required amount of shares, voting rights, or right to share of capital or profits. However, upon checking the company's constitution, they've realized that Deborah holds the right to appoint or remove the directors of D. So Deborah is also a controller. In another scenario, Company D realized upon checking the constitution that Peter, a shareholder of the company, holds more than 25% of the rights to vote on matters that are to be decided upon by a vote of the shareholders of the company. Thus, Peter is also a controller. In the case of Company M, Ali is the retired founder of M, and despite not being a shareholder of M, he has an absolute right to adopt or amend the company's business plans. Because he has the right to exercise significant influence or control in part of his role within the company, Ali is a controller. There are some differences in the definition of a controller for LLPs and foreign companies. Please refer to the ACRA website for more information. So what needs to be done in order to set up your register of controllers? Existing companies, foreign companies, and LLPs will have 60 days from the date of commencement of the new law, i.e. 31st March 2017, to keep their registers. Companies, foreign companies, and LLPs set up on or after 31st March 2017 will have 30 days from the date of incorporation or registration to keep your registers of controllers. Entities that were not required, but subsequently are required to keep registers of controllers will have a 60-day window to keep their registers of controllers. For example, a company that was listed on an approved exchange in Singapore and subsequently becomes delisted would have 60 days from the day that it is delisted to keep its register of controllers. Your registers may be kept at your registered office or at the address of your registered filing agent. Your registers can be kept in electronic or hard copy form. Companies and LLPs must send out notices to anyone whom they know to be controllers, have reasonable grounds to believe to be controllers, or know or are likely to know the identity of the controllers. This task can be undertaken by the company's secretary. Companies and LLPs should take note that their duties can be discharged by sending notices to the relevant parties and recording their particulars, as well as sending further notices to any other parties that have been revealed as potential controllers. The company or LLP is not liable should recipients of these notices fail to respond or provide inaccurate responses. For a copy of the notice, please refer to the ACRA website. When the company or LLP receives a reply to the notice that it sent out and a controller has been identified, the particulars of the controller must be entered into your register. This must be done within 2 business days of receiving the reply. When filing the company's annual returns with ACRA, the company will have to declare the location of the company's register of controllers. This is the same for LLPs when they file their annual declaration. Here are some examples of the particulars of controllers that must be kept in your register. For more detailed information, including ACRA-issued guidance for companies and LLPs on how to comply with the requirements, please refer to the ACRA website. For inquiries on the new requirements, please contact the ACRA Help Desk at 6248-6028 or email via www.acra.gov.sg/AskACRA.